How's everybody doing? And welcome to the fish room. Today I've been in here doing some cleanings on the sponge filters. I thought I'd do a video. I've known in a little while, so let's go ahead. We're gonna look at some guppies today. Kind of things I've been breeding, some of the outcomes, what's new in the fish room. So let's go ahead, look through some of the tanks we have here. Wraps all the way around. So let's go ahead and look at some guppies. In this top tank, I have some guppies breeding. Pretty excited about this tank. This is my fancy guppy project. I'm on like my F3s here. So all I'm really trying to do, and you can see there's some young juveniles in here, like this male right in the middle. But basically what I'm trying to do is create the most colorful guppy that I can with the most squared off tail. So I've been breeding these guppies for a few years now. I've always had a lot of color in this strain, and it's been slightly improving over time. But I've always struggled with having a nice squared off tail, having like that delta tail. So definitely been improving that, and there's a lot of nice males in here. Kind of hard to film. This is a very high tank, so you guys probably can see better than I can, but some really nice males in here. Right now I'm just kind of growing them out, letting them colony breed. I have made some calls from this tank. Some nice looking fish, we'll take a look at them, but they're not the colors I'm looking for. But really cool guppies, so let's look at those guys. Here we have just a 10-gallon tank. These are all siblings to those guppies we just looked at. And you can see there's some like red guppies in here. They have some spotting on their sides, still pretty nice tails. So these guys are awesome. I mean, I actually like these guys a lot, but they're just kind of the random guppies I got out of the outcome. So to breed these guys, it would take me multiple generations to kind of recreate what they have going on. Even though they would have really cool babies, I want to kind of stay focused, minimize the amount of tanks I'm breeding guppies in. So that's one thing I'm kind of switching up in the fish room. I'm trying to have less breeder tanks, sell higher quality guppies and more volume, and not have a ridiculous amount of guppies breeding. But these guys are looking really good. I actually put them in this tank, and I've been getting a close look at them because they're more eye level. So these guys are pretty neat, but they came from that tank. Let's go through, look at some of my other breeding projects. I have some yellow half blacks we can take a look at. This is one of my favorite tanks, but the hardest to film. A lot of males, but there are females in there too. These are my yellow delta tail half blacks. Just like a yellow half black guppy or a yellow tuxedo, having the black bodies and yellow tails, and they're kind of squared off at the back, so that gives them the delta name. But these guys are really cool. These are all siblings. I grew them out together and I separated the fry, and now they're all adults. They're starting to breed. Just today I spotted some fry down here. I'm not sure if I'll be able to see them on camera right now. There wasn't a whole bunch, but I definitely saw a couple babies. But that's not too important right now. Just kind of growing them out. All the males are pretty similar. If I went through and picked them out, I'd look for the straightest backs, the most yellow, less white. But overall, I'm just trying to really breed the most colorful guppies. This is one of my more pure strains, and I do sell these guys, so check out my website at biancosfish.com, or you guys can email me. I'll put everything in the description below. But all my fish I've been showing are for sale if you guys are looking for stuff. I'm in Pittsburgh area if you're local, or I do ship fish. But these guys are really cool. I've always liked this strain, and trying to get more yellow in them. So some of these guys, the color's kind of creeping up on their back. As long as they still have the yellow and black, I'm not too picky. I just want nice, healthy, colorful guppies, and hardy especially. So these guys are pretty hardy. I haven't lost any of them, but let's go ahead and look at some more tanks of guppies. Here's a tank of my red deltas. So I'm actually really excited more so on the females. I think I showed these in one of my older videos. But the color's starting to creep up their spine and in their top fin. And the top fin of this one's even getting a little bit longer. I have a few tanks of these guys, and some of them look better than others. But I have two females in here and a ton of babies. I actually lost the male, but they get a real solid red tail, long and squared off. And I actually have a young male right there. So if he has nice red colors and he forms, I'll keep him in there. But I'm about to pull him out and let him grow up, because once these guys hit maturity, I will start separating them. But worst case scenario, if they were to grow up and breed, it's still red guppy and red guppy, so you're not really gonna mix up the genetics too much. If you start to let these guys get out of hand and start to colony breed, as long as you don't have any crazy colors or your strain's not very pure or you have some bent backs, you don't want those guys breeding. But if they grow up a little bit and they breed, it's really not the end of the world, especially if you have an established strain that you're working with. So these guys are doing well. They're just in a 10-gallon tank right now, and there's just tons of babies. So ready to start splitting these guys up, growing up in a bigger tank and get my next generation breeders. But kind of excited about the reds because they were never very hardy when I first got them. But as I've been working with these guys for probably a few years now, definitely having a lot less health issues, and they're doing a lot better because I breed for color and health and hardiness. So kind of the same thing, but you know what I mean. You want to have good looking guppies and you don't want them to die on you. So that's always the goal. Here we have some of my purple painted Delta guppies. Really cool, working on a project. I only got a couple babies in here, but I have that male and there's a younger female that has some nice color. We're fighting the glare, but you definitely can see the male. The purple Deltas are probably my best strain if you're looking for big tails. I'll show you another male I have that's older than him, but these guys look like a betta fish whenever they get full grown. Very cool fish. Sell a lot of these guys, so if you're looking for a guppy with really nice finnage and they're healthy and hardy, the purple painted Deltas that I breed definitely could be the fish for you. But just check out that guy, he's looking really nice. I got a couple babies whenever she had her first litter, or first drop of fry, whatever you want to call it. And she was still pretty young, but I picked her out early because I like the pattern in her tail. But they're kind of swimming around, so let's go ahead and look at one of the males that are a little bit older than them. So this is an older of the purple painted Deltas. I think it's the father to him. He's actually getting old, so his tail's a little beat up from the female, but you can get an idea of just how large their fins will get on this strain. So these guys are really nice. The tail grows on the top and on the back. I like the color kind of mixing up. I've been intentionally trying to get some spawning in the side and lighter and darker blues and purples in the tail. So that's all intentional, and it's definitely line bred, so it's pretty consistent. But those guys are cool. While we're at this tank, I still have some of my super reds in here. I haven't been selling many of them because I'm trying to grow them out. That guy we're looking at is kind of big because this is a holdback tank. But I have some more tanks of babies growing up, so I still am breeding them. I have a whole bunch of them, but they grow very slowly, so not selling many of them right now. Locally, I'll sell them, but they're still a little bit small to ship. So if you're looking for some plecos, hang tight. I'll be making a video on those guys when they're bigger and they're ready for sale. But just doing an update on some of the guppies today. Let's say a backup view on the fish room, and I'll talk a little bit more. So as for the actual fish room, everything in the room is heated off of a heater I have, and everything's run off a central air system with sponge filters. Some things I've been changing up in the fish room. I do weekly water changes, and I usually do 50 to 75% on my tanks. But after a while, I'm kind of second guessing why I'm doing so much water so often. Obviously, if a tank just has a pair of guppies in there, I'm not going to do that big of a water change. Maybe like 25%. But whenever the tanks are very heavily stocked, I always do large water changes. But starting to cut back on that, and now I do water changes every other week. And something new I've just tried out. But on that off week, I just did today, I'll go through and I'll clean out all my sponge filters. So I'll take out each sponge filter from each tank with some tank water, wring it out, put it back in, and that'll be like their water change for the week. I think I'm actually removing a lot more fish waste and nitrates by doing that. You still want to change water because whenever you change water, you're diluting a hormone that fish give off, which stunts their growth, especially in a tank like this down here, where I have a lot of guppies and a lot of baby plecos. The fish give off a hormone that kind of goes in the water, and the more fish and the smaller the amount of water, the more that gets concentrated. So just think about a big pond, fish get big, they grow fast. Smaller pond, they grow slower. But whenever it starts to rain a whole bunch and there's a lot more food available, the fish grow faster. Same thing, it dilutes that hormone in the water. So that's kind of why I've been obviously still do big water changes on tanks where we have a lot of fish. But as in the last month or so, I've switched to doing it every other week, and I'm cleaning the sponges. Who knows, that might change, but I'm trying it out and I think it's working pretty well. But just a little update in the fish room. Plecos are definitely breeding really nice. Just right here you have a real nice shot of a red calico long fin bristlenose pleco. Really nice fish. And down here, if you guys remember and you've been following the channel, if not, definitely go below and subscribe so you guys get updated when I post videos. But I have some spotted blue-eyed plecos. That male's kind of hanging out in the cave. But I've been growing these guys out for almost a year, maybe 9 months, and they're finally breeding for me. I have a whole bunch of babies in here that are probably only a few days old. That one kind of just went out and hid. But you can see how small those pleco babies are. Feeding them a bunch of algae wafers, and there's a lot of places for them to hide in here. But got a bunch of those plecos. Very excited to grow them out, see if they get the spots. They definitely look like blue-eye leucistic plecos right now, which the parents are, so they're breeding true. Hopefully some of them have the spotting, but stay tuned for that. We'll definitely watch these guys grow, see what we get, because this might be a new strain to the hobby, so very excited about these guys. But that'll wrap it up for us today, guys. Thanks for watching. If you made it to the end, definitely let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and check out some of my older videos. I'll put them at the end here. I think I'm going to do a video in the next week or so where I am going to do a water change on a tank, or maybe do the same tank like back-to-back weeks with the same amount of fish, so I can test the water, do a water change, see how much the nitrates go down, and then I'll do another week where I just clean the sponge filter, put it back in there, and see how much the nitrates lower. Someone commented that below. I always ask for people's comments and things you think I should do in videos. And I was showing how I was cleaning my sponge filters and skipping a water change, and someone asked me to test it and kind of give proof of it, and I think that's actually a really good idea. So probably in a future video we'll go ahead and do that. Let me know what you guys think. But thank you all for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't yet. Definitely want to post more videos, but sometimes it's the same old here, so if I don't have anything new, it's hard to shoot a video. But thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.